What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and you know why you clicked this video. You saw the title. It's time to check out Apple's new iPad. That's what we've got inside of here, as well as a couple of other things, nothing too crazy. So let's actually pop it out right now. We got our kunai. You like how I had to spin it every time, Jay? It's fancy. But all right, y'all, check it out. Here we have it. All right, so we got the iPad here, as well as a couple of other things. We got the Apple Pencil, the iPad, and that new white Magic Keyboard. So that is really exciting. All right, so here is the box for the new 12-inch iPad Pro featuring Apple's brand new M1 chip, which has taken the tech world by storm. The M1 MacBooks have been absolutely insane, as well as the Mac Mini. Now we have the M1 inside of the iPad Pro. So we're gonna be talking about that, what that brings to the table, what makes this thing so special. But just looking at the box, I love the color scheme that they got here, obviously because there's like teal. So it makes sense that I'm gravitating towards this. But let's pop it open. Let's get it out of the box and see what we got. All right. Okay, so this is the silver version. I usually opt for space gray, but here we've got silver. And that makes sense. The silver is going to look really nice with this white Magic Keyboard. I can palm the 10-inch version, but not this guy. Now, Apple has made some changes. We talked about the fact that it has the M1 chip inside of here, but it now also features Apple's new XDR liquid retina display. If history is any indicator, Apple's normal XDR display that they came out with recently, which looks amazing. The same kind of screen technology is built inside of this little guy. Instead of a typical USB-C port down here, this is Thunderbolt 4. With a Thunderbolt port, you're gonna be able to add accessories like really fast SSDs, so you can do all kinds of stuff like video editing. I'm getting ahead of myself. Overall, this thing does look very similar to the standard iPad Pro. So no real physical changes here. We do have a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, as well as a 10 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. So you got those as well, and your volume buttons on the sides, all your speaker grills, all that good stuff. It's an iPad Pro, we know what it's about. But in the box, let's see. Okay, we still get our charger, as well as a USB-C to C cable. So this is what we get inside of the packaging, beautiful packaging. Shall we pop open the Magic Keyboard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you excited for this, Carl?
Always.
I was like, I don't care, man, just hurry, just open it. All right, now a white Magic Keyboard. It's an interesting choice. I think it'll look really cool, but it's white. Okay. Okay. That's clean. I don't know, I get doctor vibes with this. Let's see, what am I? You know, get your white lab coat, get your little white iPad. Like this is fire. When you go to type on this after some time, I wonder what this looks like in a few weeks of using it. You know, after you eating Cheetos and oxtail, you eating all kinds of crazy stuff, Carl.
Can't do that.
You can't do it around this. But this new Magic Keyboard looks dope. We'll throw in the Apple Pencil on top of it. It looks so clean, Jay. I mean, what? It looks nice. Oh, just this thing, like just solo. Just put this thing by itself. We're nerds. One other thing I'm just seeing right now that it has LTE connectivity right now, but this also features 5G. So if you want to get like fast data speeds, you're gonna have access to that with this iPad. But I'm gonna go ahead and set it up, and then I'm gonna hit you guys with a review in a couple days, which is in a few seconds. Here's the review. And all right, guys, time for my thoughts on the new iPad Pro 2021. And I gotta say, this thing is kind of crazy. But first, I feel like we need to talk about what this thing is meant to be and not what people might think it's meant to replace. Of course, this thing is packing Apple's new M1 chip. A lot of things are carrying Apple's new M1 chip. MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, Mac Mini, iMac, iPad Pro. We are seeing a lot of M1 these days. but they're all very different products, and the iPad Pro is no different. Now, this is meant to be a portable powerhouse where you can take this around for entertainment while also being able to do some creative work when you want to pull out the Apple Pencil. And if you want to do a little bit more heavy lifting in the creative field, you can even do things like video editing with no problem. And if you've seen the iPad Pro in action before, you already know that. But with Apple's new M1 chip, it just takes those capabilities a bit further. Now, package-wise, we're getting pretty much the same iPad Pro that we're familiar with. It's got the same body, same speaker layout, cameras, all that good stuff that you know from the last year. Body is ever so slightly thicker because it has a ever so slightly thicker battery inside of here. Battery life is still pretty much the same. You get that standard 10 hours, but we're seeing a difference in battery size because we've got this much brighter and cleaner display. Now, I don't want to get too technical and start talking about how this thing has over 10,000 mini LEDs. Just know that the screen gets really bright. When you're watching content, maybe you throw something up like this, it'll get really bright up to 1,000 nits. And colors just pop on this screen, and the volume, you guys, listen, this is a kid's show, right? Don't judge me. But it's nice and colorful, and it's got like music going. So just check this out.
Before landing in the Olympics.
And I will say, you guys, it might not translate well over video, but in here, it is surprisingly loud. You would think a television is on. It's a good experience. And me, I'm a big mobile gamer, and I'm always happy when there is an iPad version of the app because the bigger screen is just nicer than pulling out the phone sometimes if you want to just go all in. And if you take part in Apple Arcade, it's actually a pretty solid experience. You can pair a Bluetooth controller to this, whether it's the Xbox wireless controller, and I think the PS5 controller is supported as well. So you can throw a Bluetooth controller on here, have a really nice, decent screen to play. And in case you don't want to use a controller and you just want to use the touchscreen, that's okay because this thing does have Pro Motion. So even the gaming experience is nice. It responds to touch very well as you'd expect. Carl, you know they got Call of Duty on here?
I heard.
Have you tried it?
I don't think so.
I hear you, I don't play that either. But what M1 does bring to the table in terms of having that extra power, it allows developers to be able to create even crazier games. Apple calls it console level graphics. The M1 chip is pretty insane, so it should be interesting to see what happens in probably like an Apple Arcade. I feel like that's where we'll most likely see the most development happen. And while we're on the topic of M1, let's just take a look over here, you guys. So we have a little video project. This is LumaFusion. Unfortunately, it's not Final Cut Pro, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit at the end. But take a look, guys. This right here is probably like the go-to editing app when it comes to the iPad. And what we're looking at right here is 4K footage, just some A-roll that we shot. This is actually colored, and you guys can just take a look at the playback here. This is from yesterday's video. A little behind the scenes for you guys. And check, it's just playing really smoothly. This is 4K footage right from the A7S III, but we've also got some 8K footage in here as well from our Red camera. It plays back very, very smoothly. That's the power of M1. Like, we're able to do some really crazy things now with an iPad. 8K footage, 4K footage on top of each other in a video editing app. We actually exported this video. It turned out to be an 11-minute video without all the crazy effects that you typically see in our videos with animations and all that. And an 11.5-minute video took about 7 minutes and I believe 10 seconds. That's really, really good and makes the iPad a viable option in terms of a video editing device. Now, it's one of those things. Is it easier to just use this iPad instead of like a dedicated machine with software like Final Cut Pro? You can get it done. I personally think I'd stick with Final Cut, maybe because I'm used to it. But if you bought an iPad Pro or someone gifted you an iPad Pro because they love you, because that's some real love, then you're gonna be in good shoes.
So you're gifting me an iPad? Never mind.
If you said it right, I would have did it. And while I'm not expecting to see Final Cut on the iPad anytime soon, maybe Adobe might come out with Premiere on the iPad. It's completely possible, who knows? But that could be really cool for video editors.
I hope so.
You would like that, right, Jay? But you see, that's the kind of conversation we can have now because the M1 chip is inside of here. And it's crazy. It's got all this power. It's doing all these different things with the video editing, all that. Things stay super cool. There are no fans in the iPad. That's just, listen, if you haven't heard about M1, it's crazy. It's crazy. But let's just really quickly jump into one of like the coolest things about the new iPad, and that is this front-facing camera. Carl, I'm gonna call you. You got your phone?
I'm not gonna answer.
So I'm gonna FaceTime Carl, and then you guys can see, we've got this thing called center stage. So Jay just kind of walked into the shot, and you can see we got a wider screen here because of it. So basically what center stage does is it will follow you no matter where you go because it has a wide angle lens that it's working with. It crops in and basically follows the person in here. So if I'm doing something, like let's say I take my iPad with me somewhere.
Double click to make it big.
Can we make it bigger?
Yes.
Oh, why would I look at you when I can look at me? So I can be over here talking to Carl, kind of just stand over here and like, and it's doing a really good job. And what's actually really surprising is that my face looks really dark on screen because of this bright background, but it is still making out that I am here and that I am the subject that it should be focusing on. So you can be on a FaceTime call, like in a kitchen, while you're grabbing all the different ingredients, moving around, having your conversation, and you're just seeing the camera just go and follow you. That's nice, that's nice. You can kind of just place it, forget about it, and it does its thing. But what's also cool is that even though it's focusing on you, if Carl jumps in here real quick, it'll just open up for the both of us, and Jay jumps in here, it gets even wider. It's like, okay, you got all these people in there, you rolling deep, so we're gonna make it wide enough so everybody can see you. And then when Carl leaves,
And it's doing this slow zoom.
yeah, and it's very smooth. That's the nice part about it. So it's not like a jarring kind of thing. It's nice. Center stage, that's the future. Imagine you got somebody else in the crib that you're not supposed to have it, and it just. So my final thoughts on the new iPad Pro. Absolutely incredible device. Apple has done it again. iPad Pro was amazing. You know, I loved it. I love the design. I love the power behind it, but with the M1 chip, it just kind of pushes that. Not to mention that, you know, if you're in the creative field, you also got like Thunderbolt support over here on the side now. It can go up to 2 terabytes of storage. I say all of this to say the iPad Pro is dope. It is absolutely an investment, kind of like a laptop, but now we're starting to see the lines get blurred. This is now no longer just a tablet. Now I know it can be a little confusing that the iPad has an M1 chip. One might think that we will eventually see Mac OS come to the iPad, or iPad OS and Mac OS eventually merge or something. But I think Apple has said it over and over again. iPad OS is supposed to be a complementary operating system, as well as one that can stand on its own, to Mac OS, so that you can kind of have them work well together. But iPad OS is not going to replace the MacBook at any point, and we probably won't see applications from macOS eventually come to the iPad. So I don't think we should have our hopes up. That's why I kind of gave up on the idea of Final Cut Pro coming over to the iPad. Still have my fingers crossed, but you should really think of them as separate devices that work well together. So do I recommend the iPad Pro? Absolutely. I love this thing. I'm a daily user, so it's an easy recommendation on my end, and 2021's version is no different. One thing we do have to talk about is this Magic Keyboard. I love the Magic Keyboard. I think it looks absolutely stunning in white. Like, guys, this thing looks crazy. It's beautiful. Do I recommend it? No. Guys, in me, just trying to keep this thing safe and ready for this review, it's been a few days and I've been treating this thing like a princess, like placing it nice and clean places. And look, from just being on desks, the way that this thing lays down on a table, you're going to get smudges. This is with me doing my absolute best to keep it clean. And I can just imagine like a few weeks, it's over. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep using this. I'm gonna keep using the white one anyway because I do think it's dope. So I'll give you guys an update at some point on how this holds up with me babying it, because I definitely like to baby my stuff. I don't expect good results. And I think some people were a little bit confused about whether or not the old Magic Keyboard could work for the iPad. Now, like I said, the iPad is a slight bit thicker, but the old Magic Keyboard still works for it. It's just when you close it, it might be a little bit weird because it's slightly thicker. This Magic Keyboard does accommodate the extra thickness here. It's not much, but that's the difference. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, be the cool guy or girl that gives this video a thumbs up. And catch you guys in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace. More Apple content coming tomorrow. Look out for it. Later.